Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a meeting of the Brant County Council, May the 23rd, 2023. Attendance has been taken. We're all here. Before we go to the agenda, I have a presentation I'd like to make. Mr. Howes, if you want to come up, Robert Howes. Come on up here. We're just glad you're dressed, Mr. Howes. So, on behalf of Brant County Council and the County of Brant, I'd like to present you with this briefcase. For all your years of service on the cemetery board, you were there right from the beginning and you saw it right through until retirement. So we thank you for all your time and all your dedication to the county. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for letting me do that. Number 2 on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have anything to add to the agenda? Councillor Miller and Councillor Coleman. Ms. Councillor Coleman, do you want to tell us what it is now or do you want to wait?
new business.
New business. Councillor Miller?
Awesome.
Also new business. And you'll make it our business when we get there? Thank you. Councillor Kyle, you're going to approve the agenda?
Yep, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Pierce that the County of Brant Council agenda for May 23rd be approved with the additions.
Thank you. All those in favor of the agenda? Opposed? Carried. Declaration of pecuniary interests. I have one. It is 8.4, recommendation number 6, and 13.2, recommendation number 2. Anyone else? Councillor Garneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In open session, I have 7.2.5 and 7.2.8. And in the closed session, 13.3 and 13.5, please.
Thank you. Are there any other conflicts? Seeing none, we'll move on. Delegations. Now we have a delegation here, Mark Dinsmore. Is he here? I didn't think so. Calling twice. Still seeing no Mark Dinsmore. We'll move on then to adoption of the minutes from the previous meeting. Councillor Howes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Garneau that the County of Brant Council minutes of April 25th, 2023 and May 9th, 2023 be approved.
Any concerns on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none, we'll go to consent items to be approved, and there aren't any. 7.2 is consent items to be received. We have a resignation from Councillor Garneau for the library board, and we accept your resignation. Right here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. That's what I have. I'm not quite sorry yet. Oh, okay. Councillor Garneau has declared a conflict on 5 and 8, so we'll separate those two. Is there anyone that has any questions on 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10? Councillor Pierce and Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just comments actually on 2.4, 2.5, and 2.3.
Okay. Councillor Miller.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question on 7.2.1, 7.2.9.
Okay. Councillor Pierce, do you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 7.2.3, which is on page 59 of our package for the AORS conference. I just want to ensure that we've got representation there.
Okay.
And then on, I guess, 7.2.4 from the City of Cambridge for the Highway Traffic Act amendments. I want to make sure that, well, I don't want to make sure, but I think we need to be supporting this. And if it needs a motion to move to do that, I'd be happy to do it. I think it's important that we write that letter and support what's being done there.
Seeking a seconder, Councillor Bell. Do you want to discuss anything on 7.2.4? Everyone's in agree that we should support it? Recommendation. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Pierce.
And then the last one, Mr. Mayor, which is on page 71. I'm sorry, just bear with me. Let me get there.
Are you on 71?
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, on page 71 of our package, when it talks about the occupancy and vacancies for the LWBB program, it says, if I may, Mr. Mayor, it says in 2022, the LWBB program adult component housed 9 clients, and by the name list and supported of the LWBB staff increased the average length of tenancy to 18 months from a year. 5 clients successfully transitioned. I'm curious, it doesn't say anything there. If anybody knows, is the thought that we're going to leave this at 18 months? And if so, is that creating any backlog because it was 12 months? I'm just curious. I think it's a good thing, but I just want to understand if there's been any backlog created by the extension of that, if anybody knows.
Anyone? Councillor Bell? No? No, I don't know either. We can ask Brantford.
Okay, I would appreciate that, because as I say, I think it's a great thing, and it's great that that there's a number staying longer than that, but I'm just curious if there's any trickle effect of a backlog. That's all, because as it states, there's a number of people waiting to get in with only so many spots. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Miller, you're next.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, 7.2.1, the Police Services Board. We get that Police Services Board report for the County of Brant. And on page 40 of our package, there's they list the violent crimes by type, and they show sexual assault. The change is 500%. There was 1 in 2022. In the first 2 months of 2023, so that's January, February, we've had 6. And I read the report. It didn't really give any color to that or any context there. And I'm just wondering if there's anything anybody from the Police Services Board could add to that, because that seems like a really, really high number for the first 2 months of the year.
I'll let Councillor Pierce answer that. We did bring that up at Police Services. It was a number that stuck out for us too. So, Councillor Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you. There's not a lot of detail that's given on it, Councillor Miller, through the mayor. And there was 2 numbers that came out to us. One was the 500% increase and the 400% increase on a different one. We've asked the inspector to include in her report when there is a change like that. And here's a classic example of somebody that jumping off the page to put a little, to your point, a little extra emphasis as to why the change. Not that the increase is good in anything, especially not with sexual assault. But when you take, when there was 1, which isn't good, and then all of a sudden anything more than that, you're talking 100% increase for each one of them. But as far as details of it, the details of the specific incidents are not public knowledge.
Councillor Miller?
It just no, I would understand that. I wouldn't expect that, but I'm just wondering, like I say, if we could have a little more context around it. I just wonder, should we be concerned? But if we could get something in the Friday file, and just maybe a note to the inspector, if we do see numbers like that, maybe put something in the report, because that's where I'm looking for further information. So, okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you. And if I could go on to the second one.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And that's 7.2.9. That's the library board meeting minutes. And I don't know what page. I apologize, but I did write it down.
Page 82.
Okay. It says
97, sorry. 97.
It's regarding the new build, and it says the proposed budget and business plan should be ready for council consideration in late spring. We're late May. I'm just wondering when we might see that, or when this council will see that.
Okay, we were just talking about that before the meeting, and Allison's going to speak to that.
Thank you, through you, your worship. I did speak with Ms. Bernstein today, and that report will be coming forward in June.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, we see them all. All those in favor? Oh, I thought you left the table, didn't you? Oh, for Councillor Pearson's question. Okay. We'll do the other two for the Councillor Garneau declared conflict on, which is number 8, John Noble Home, and number 3 and 5. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. Okay, you can come back. Committee reports, 8.1. Policy Development Committee report. Councillor Coleman, you have that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself. Committee report 2023 to be approved. Looking at 5 items.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Takes us to number 8.2, which is the Planning and Development Committee report, and Councillor Chambers has that.
Mr. Mayor, it's moved by myself and seconded by Councilor McAlpine that the Planning and Development Committee report of May 9th, 2023 be approved.
Any questions for Councillor Chambers on his report? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Paramedic Services Committee report, Councillor Miller.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Pierce, that the Paramedic Services Committee report of May 10th, 2023 be approved.
Are there any questions? I have one. What did they tell us was going to happen to the old ambulance that they were finished with? Was it going to be used as a trade-in, or?
I don't recall what they said about that, but I'll ask and find out. Though.
I think they might have said it's part of the trade-in. I don't know what else they would have said.
I don't recall. Did we ask about that?
I think so.
We did. Okay. I don't recall the discussion, but I'll find out.
All right. Any other questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Administration and Operations Committee report. And that is going to be Councillor Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Howes, that the Administration and Operations Committee report of May 16th be approved, noting there's 12 recommendations.
Any questions or concerns? Councillor Kyle.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, just a quick comment. I did note that Sandra Voss's name, her last name is spelled wrong in a couple of spots. It's 1 S, not 2.
Thank you. It will be corrected. She'll be glad that it was corrected. Are there any other questions?
You've got the contract.
Yeah. And I have to separate number 6 because I have a conflict, so we'll vote on everything but number 6. All those in favor? Carried. Do you want me to turn my back? Just call the vote separately on number 6. I will turn my back if you want me to. Number 6. All those in favor?
You can't vote.
Oh, I can't vote. Why didn't you let me turn around? All those in favor? Opposed? I'm all twitchy. Carried. See, I hate when that happens. We're now going to staff reports on number 9, and Greg has this one. And we're looking for 3 volunteers. Is this the one we're looking for 3? Are there 3 volunteers that wanted? Councillor Miller, and I believe there wasn't there 2 others? Councillor Garneau? And I thought Lucas, but no. No, it's okay. I just thought I remembered that. So we have 2. We need 3 volunteers to sit on that committee. We don't need to have them all tonight. It would have been nice to have them all tonight. But Lucas, we have them all tonight. It's like an auction sale. I need a motion to accept these 3 people. All those in favor? Just a minute before I call the vote. I need a seconder. I need it on the floor first. Councillor Chambers, Councillor McAlpine. These are the 3 nominations. Are there any concerns of these 3 people sitting on the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Congratulations. I do feel like it's an auction sale though. The next thing we have is number 10, which is communications. 9-2. Oh, Cindy Stevenson, you have something on the Burford Optimist Club. Do you want to speak to it, or is it clear? It's clear. Does anyone have any questions for 9.2, Councillor Chambers?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a question, just a comment and a resolution perhaps in support of the request for the fee being waived due to the fact that it is actually a fundraising activity for a county-owned facility. And I understand there's a report in the works, and it would just make sense to me. Two things would make sense to me: that if it is a fundraising activity by a reputable organization for a county-owned facility, whether it be a new facility or an upgrade to a facility, it would seem to make sense to approve a request like this. So that could be part of the policy. But also I would like, and I think it could be delegated to staff for using their discretion. There may be some that don't really fall into the right mix, but many of them do. And rather than having them come for council resolution, etc., I would like the policy somehow to have that delegated to the staff to use their common sense and good judgment for situations like fundraising activities where the activity is to fix or supply a new county facility.
Yeah, because this one has come to us separately, though, let's deal with this one, Councillor Chambers, and you've made the motion. It's been seconded by Councillor Miller. It only makes sense that we give them a facility to raise money for ourselves. It would be silly not to endorse this. But with that being said, Councillor Miller, you want to speak to it?
Well, yeah, I do, but the staff report coming forward too. And I did mention this before. We've been faced with this before, where an organization comes forward, nonprofit, good organization, and they would like the fees waived, and they are raising money for whatever. But we never waive the fees. Now there is a partial waiving of some of the fees, but this is a little bit different when they're actually raising money for the county, for a county facility. So I think it's a good idea. As far as the report goes, yeah, I'd like to see it kind of formalized in a policy. When the report comes forward, I'll tell you, if I don't see it in the report, though, I will. I'm going to throw in the hospital as well, because that's going to be a huge fundraiser in the near future. And I think we got to do all we can to support that. So hopefully staff can put that in there somewhere.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we have something on the floor. It's been seconded. Let's just talk about this application. All those in favor? Opposed? So now let's have a motion to have staff do a report analyzing and dissecting all the requests in the future to the, Councillor Miller and Councillor Coleman. Everyone understands what we're doing. It's just a staff report just so that these can come with more information to us, if they even have to come to us at all. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Just a little something more for you, staff, in case you're getting used to your breaks. Number 10, communication. Councillor Garneau, this is your resignation from the library board, which we accept with regret. Councillor House.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In this situation, obviously we would like to fill the vacancy right away. And thinking back to some of the other councillors who had shown interest in being on the library board originally, I'd like to nominate Councillor Kyle to be the replacement. I think it's beneficial for it to be someone from, like, I'm there from Paris, but someone there from another part of the county, and I think Councillor Kyle would be great for that position.
Do you accept?
Yeah.
Seat on the board? Oh, that's great. Anyone have any opposition to Councillor Kyle sitting on the library board? Can't imagine. All right, all those in favor? Oh, I need a seconder. I have one in Councillor Pierce. He's already got his hand up. All those in favor? Congratulations. 10.2, Councillor Oakley, you have something to talk to us about.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a motion in regards to this communication. So moved by myself, and I will be seeking a seconder. Whereas residents rightfully expect elected officials to be held to a high standard of conduct, and whereas municipalities across Ontario, including the County of Brant, have adopted codes of conduct to prohibit members of council from engaging in harassing or abusive behaviors towards other members, staff, volunteers, or members of the public. And whereas there is no mechanism available to municipal councils and local boards to remove members from office regardless of the egregiousness of their conduct, and whereas the Municipal Act 2001 only permits the Integrity Commissioner to recommend a maximum sanction of 90-day suspension of pay for councillors who are found to be in violation of the code, and whereas Bill 5, Stopping Harassment and Abuse by Local Leaders Act 2022 amends the Municipal Act 2001 and the City of Toronto Act 2006, requiring the Code of Conduct for municipal councillors and members of local boards to include a requirement for those councillors and members to comply with workplace violence and harassment policies, and where Bill 5 also permits municipalities and local boards to direct the Integrity Commissioner to apply to the court to vacate a member's seat if the Commissioner's inquiry determines that the member has contravened the Code of Conduct by failing to comply with the workplace violence or harassment policies. And whereas more than 80 municipalities in Ontario have already endorsed Bill 5 in its direction, then it is directed that the County of Brant endorse Bill 5, Stopping Harassment and Abuse by Local Leaders Act, that would create a process for municipal councils and local boards to remove members who violate workplace violence and harassment policies. And council requests that municipalities and their respective integrity commissioners be consulted on the development of any regulations related to the proposed legislation, and that this resolution be circulated to other local municipal councils, local MPPs, the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO.
Seeking a seconder. Councillor Kyle. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of the support? Opposed? We're now on to number 11. You're making me second guess myself now. We have a notice of motion from Councillor McAlpine.
The notice of motion for the St. George Car Show, that in accordance to Section 20 of the procedural bylaw, the following motion be introduced without notice, that the second annual St. George Car Show occurring on June 25th, 2023 be considered as an approved event by the County of Brant Council. It's moved by myself and second by Councillor Kyle. And so how this came up is last year was our first kick at the can of doing this event. And it went over quite well, but we partnered with the county to do this event through the Streets Open event. And so over the course of the year, we've been working on planning it. And over the last couple of months, we've been working with the SEAT committee to bring it forward, and everything's going according to plan. There's just waiting now for the Brant County Health Unit to bring it forward. We're planning on expanding the event this year. Talking to the car guys, they expect we could have up to 200 cars, but we're also trying to make this a community event. So the Lions Club is coming this year to have their food truck there. The Paris Port Dover Band is going to come and play. And we have about 10 other musicians that are local that would like to busker at the event. And by making this an approved event, it simplifies the process of doing it so that we can have one license for all the vendors that are going to be there, and for the community groups and for the buskers. I wasn't aware that this would be necessary until Thursday, and if we don't do it, then it just makes it a lot more complicated for us. So I'm hoping that we'll approve this, if that's okay. If there's any questions for me.
Are there any questions for Councillor McAlpine? I have one comment, Councillor McAlpine. I'm not able to let you use my property this year with my new insurance policy. They won't let me do a public event on my property
Okay.
anymore. So there's liability problems there. I don't know if that changes anything for you. I hope not.
I don't believe that will affect it
Okay.
because we've already got approval from the county for the use of the parking lots and number 2 Beverly. And we've got approvals from Pine Vest to use their parking areas. So we've expanded it considerably. So I think that will be fine.
Good.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Any other questions for Councilor McAlpine? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and this is very similar to the motion that was passed here a little bit ago with the Berber Optimist Club. I was approached this morning, and sorry for the late notice of this, was that the Onondaga Masons are having their brunch first Sunday in June, June the 4th. It'll be at the new community hall. So their funds are a little bit deleted after they made their donation towards the community hall. They were wondering if the fees could be waived for the hall rental on that. So, and maybe it fits in with the motion that got passed earlier that this thing could go to staff and whatnot. They didn't realize that and whatnot. It says, I contacted the clerk's office this morning, so we'll go from there. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So because of the timing, we could handle this one on our own too before the staff report comes. If I can get a seconder, if Councillor Garneau thinks it's a good idea. So we'll vote on this then, and then after tonight will be the day that we timestamp the May 23rd, and after that it's all to do with staff. So we'll just deal with it as new business. All those in favor? Opposed? Councillor Chambers, you're all right? Anything else, Councillor Coleman? Councillor Miller, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank all the members of council and staff that made OSUM the success it was. I thought we did a pretty good job. I know Russell Press and Donna Clements, they should be singled out for the extra work that they did on that. I know Russell and Donna were there from the beginning, bringing it here, and then we had COVID, and then we had COVID again. So it was really nice to see. Unfortunately, it was just happened to be the worst week ever for busyness in the last decade for me. But I went out as much as I could, and I learned a lot and heard some good speakers, and picked up some really good pointers there. So, anyways, just again, just a thank you to all the people on staff and around council that made it the success it was.
Thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, Councillor Kyle, if you could take us in camera.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Oakley, that Brant County Council convene in camera to discuss a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land, purchase of former railway lands from CRH Canada, disposition of a portion of municipal parking lot 8, St. George, and disposition of 143 Oakland Road, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, line fence viewers, and livestock evaluator appointments, litigation or potential litigation, OLT Appeal 409 German School Road, OLT Appeal 245 Oakland Road, and removal of the north entrance at 234 Cockshit Road.
We're back? Okay, that takes us to 13.7, ratification of the Camera decisions. We're gonna go to number 2 first. Who has that? Counselor
Me.
House?
Yeah. Through you, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Oakley, that recommendation 2 of the Administration and Operations Committee in camera report be approved as follows. Number 2, that a portion of municipal lot number 8, municipally known as 11 Main Street South, be declared surplus to the needs of the county, surplus property. That the surplus property be transferred to the owners of 13 Main Street South, subject to the following: that the purchaser will release the easement applied against the county-owned lands currently operating as municipal parking lot number 8. That the purchaser be responsible for any costs associated with the sale of land process, including payment of the land transfer tax and any relevant harmonized sales tax towards the value of the land. The surplus lands to be consolidated with the lands at 13 Main Street South, and that the final agreement be satisfactory as to form to the legal department and satisfactory as to content to the general manager of operations.
Any comments? Oh, I can't ask for any and I can't vote. All those in favor? Carried. 3 and 4, who has that? Counselor Oakley.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor House, that recommendations 3 and 4 of the Administration Operations Committee in camera report be approved as follows. 3, that report RPT 0214-23 citizen appointments as line fence viewers and livestock evaluators be received, and that council appoint David Ford, Walter Steed, Larry Davis, Bob Van Wyk, and Josh Seats to be line fence viewers for the County of Brant, and that council appoint Larry Davis, Ben Mannon, and John H. Bonas as livestock evaluators for the County of Brant, and that appointment bylaws be prepared and presented to council for approval, and 4, that staff be directed to finalize the disposition of 143 Oakland Road in the County of Brant.
All those in favor? Opposed? Well done. Takes us to number 14, which is the bylaws, and Councillor Bell, you have them.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Kyle, that bylaws 56-23 to 60-23 be now read a first time.
All those in favor of the first reading? Second reading, please, Councillor Bell.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Kyle, that bylaws 56-23 to 60-23 be read a second time and all clauses and preambles be adopted.
Are there any questions on the bylaws for the second reading? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. And the third reading, please, Councillor Bell.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Kyle, that bylaws 56-23 to 60-23 be read a third time, passed, signed, and executed.
All those in favor of the third reading of the bylaws? Opposed? And carried. Takes us to number 15 on the agenda, which is the next meeting, which is scheduled for June the 13th at 6 o'clock in council chambers. Is there any other business for the betterment of the County of Brant? Seeing none,